too. But as the weather starts to get a little bit colder, I start craving warm and spicy flavors. Just a little something to remind me that the sun and warmth exists somewhere, you know? Yeah. So today I am making a delicious Cajun cod with roasted sweet potatoes and a corn salad. Pretty good. I love doing this. This is a sheet pan meal as well, which is fantastic because we're cooking it all on one sheet pan. It's gonna be a total breeze. But before I get going, I wanna make my Cajun seasoning. Now, if you have Cajun seasoning in your pantry, use it. Don't worry about it, I won't blame you. Even Tex-Mex seasoning would be delicious, but I'll show you how to make mine. So the first thing I need is 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. That's gonna give like a nice, smoky, delicious flavor. Anytime I'm using smoked paprika, I kind of equate it to like the bacon of the spice cupboard. So add in 2 tablespoons of that into a little bowl. And then for a bit of heat, I'm gonna add in 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper. And cayenne pepper is great, yeah, a little spicy. You can pull this back definitely if you're looking for something a little more mild, but you definitely need a bit of that heat in here. Super tasty. And if your cayenne pepper has been in your cupboard for a while, just go with the 2 teaspoons. It'll be fine. This just it eventually just tastes like spicy red dust. If it's new, 1 teaspoon would probably be good. All right, now 2 teaspoons of onion powder, because onion powder gives almost like the flavor of roasted onions without having to roast them. It also doesn't burn as quickly as onions, so it's really great to get oniony flavor in quickly without it burning. Now 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, which does similar things. It gives like roasted garlic flavor in. And I'm someone who has like a spice pantry just absolutely full of so many things. So that's why I always like making my own spice mixes, just to use things up. Now into there, I'm also gonna season that with about a teaspoon of salt. So add that on in. And then about a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna fake it though, because this is a slow pepper mill. So I'm just gonna do as much as I feel like doing. And it's about that. Perfect. I'm gonna call that a 1/4 teaspoon. Obviously add a bit more if you want at home. Now into there, for a little bit of herbiness, I'm adding in 1/2 teaspoon of dry oregano, as well as 1/2 teaspoon of dry thyme. These are all classic Cajun seasonings, really nice and bright and delicious. Now give that a stir together, and you can store that in your spice cupboard along with everything else for up to, honestly, I'd keep it up to like a year. It would be delicious still. It'll work, it'll be good and wonderful. Perfect. So that spice mixture is done. Now moving on to the starch of this sheet pan meal, and that is sweet potatoes. So I've got 4 sweet potatoes here that I've cut into nice wedges. And to be honest, I cut them kind of like haphazard. I just cut them however they want to be cut. Sweet potatoes are a weird shape. Cut it however you want. Now into there, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil. And oil, when you're cooking with oil, basically what it's doing is it attracts heat onto the food better. So it gives a nice golden brown outside. Makes it so the food doesn't burn because the oil's getting hot, and it kind of almost like sort of fries in the oven. Really tasty and delish. Now I'm gonna season that with a tablespoon of that Cajun seasoning we made. Again, you can go a little less, a little more depending on your spice tolerance. And I'm gonna give that a nice toss up, just to coat. And now I'm gonna transfer these sweet potatoes onto a sheet pan. So this is my one tip anytime I am making a sheet pan meal. If something's gonna take longer in the oven, I do what I call the seafood boil approach. I'm gonna put these sweet potatoes in first and give them a head start before I start adding other things. So I'm gonna add those on into my 400-degree oven, and those need about 20 minutes just to start getting nice and tender. And while those start doing their thing, I'm gonna get to work on the protein and veg of this dish. So for the protein, I'm doing cod. Cod is delicious, it cooks really nice and quickly. So I've got 4 cod fillets here. You could also do salmon, would be great, shrimp, absolutely delicious. You could even do chicken if you wanted, though I would probably add that in with the sweet potatoes because it does take longer to cook than fish. But I'm just adding that on into the same bowl as those sweet potatoes because there's still a little seasoning and oil in there. Now give that a bit of a toss together. And then I've also got 3 ears of corn here that I've shucked and I've removed the kernels from, because corn is absolutely delicious right now still. Super wonderful. Add that on in. Maybe a bit more oil. Maybe a bit more seasoning, because I like things spicy. Absolutely delish. Give that a toss together. And And now I'm gonna go grab those sweet potatoes. I've got some that have already been roasting for 20 minutes. And they look beautiful and golden, absolutely delish. Right? Not too shabby. So I'm just gonna give those a bit of a toss and shove those over to one side of that sheet pan, because this is where we're gonna start adding the rest of my flavors. So here I've got that cod and that delish corn. I'm gonna add that cod down kind of in quadrants. That's gonna cook up. It's gonna be so delicious and flaky. And then I'm also gonna toss that corn on, just again, in that final quadrant. That's gonna roast up too. I'm gonna pop that back into my 400-degree oven for 10 to 15 minutes, just until that's flaky and this is still crisp and delish. Today, I am making my Cajun cod with roasted sweet potatoes and a corn salad. So we've got all of that roasted deliciousness right here. Like, look how good that looks. Right there, that looks like dinner to me. But since essentially I did tell you that we were having a vegetable, but I made that vegetable corn, which is technically a grain. So I'm gonna make this into more of a veggie kind of salad situation. It looks so good. So I wanna make that roasted corn and give it a bit of brightness. So into a large bowl, I'm gonna mince in 1 clove of garlic. That's gonna give me like the base of something a little bright, a little spicy. I'm just popping that right on into the bowl. Now, if you've ever watched me cook before, you will know I hate chopping garlic. So this rasp is my #1 tool, because all you do is swipe that garlic over top, give it a tap, and you've got your garlic right in the bowl. Perfect. Now into there, to just start pulling back on that raw garlic flavor, I've got a lime here. Now if you wanted to do a lemon, that would be great. But for me, lime is really nice. It's kind of like a slightly more bitter version of citrus. Also, fun bonus, no seeds. I don't have to worry about seeds. I don't know why there's no seeds in a lime. It's probably science. But I appreciate it because it makes squeezing them real easy. So I'm just adding in the juice of that lime right on into that garlic. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna kind of pull back on that spicy rawness of the garlic and almost pickle it a little bit. It's gonna be delish. Give that a bit of a stir. And now into there, I'm gonna toss in some cherry tomatoes. Anytime I'm looking for tomatoes and it's not tomato season, cherry tomatoes are my go-to. They are always nice and bright and fresh. Now into there, a little bit of avocado for some creaminess. And again, that lime juice is gonna help. I know, I love an avocado. We don't even charge extra for it here, so it's very exciting. Give that a bit of a toss. And now I'm gonna add in that nice hot roasted corn. The heat of that corn is again gonna further slightly cook that garlic up. Just spoon that on in with all that amazing Cajun seasoning. Like absolutely delicious. If you make a bit of a mess, guess what? That's life. That's why my mom hates cooking, yeah. Perfect. Give that a bit of a toss. And then for a little bit of green, as opposed to throwing lettuce or anything in here, I'm just gonna throw in some fresh herbs. So I've got some chives here, which I absolutely love. And I'm just gonna roughly chop those up. I like to keep things nice and big and chunky, because that's gonna give a real nice flavor into there, as well as some fresh basil. If you had parsley, that would be delicious. A little bit tarragon would be great, cilantro. If you wanted to, you could throw some feta cheese in here if you're someone who's okay mixing cheese and fish, which I am, I'm not gonna lie. Toss that in, give that a toss. And then to plate this baby up, all you need is, I've got some garlicky mayo here because I love mayo. Gonna add a bit of that down onto my plate. Delicious. Pop on some of that amazing cod. Nice flaky, crispy cod. Some of those sweet potatoes right on there. And then the pièce de résistance, in my opinion, this amazing corn, tomato, and avocado salad. Like, to me, this looks like a gourmet meal that took me all of no time to throw together. It's absolutely delicious. It's fresh, it's bright, and it's gonna be a little bit spicy. I'm gonna dig into this. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.